Hello, world. It's Ilza here, starting her first ever Facebook Live for Letterpress Communications. We'll wait a little couple minutes for some friends to join. I know there's a bunch of people in our event who said they were attending. Hey, Jen. Hey, Lindsay. It's nice to have some letterpress support. See you all out there. Yeah, I've been telling clients this is a great time to do some live videos, but having to do it yourself, you realize, yeah, it's kind of stressful, right? So I'm working on getting my notes set up with my screen so everything is coordinated for me. I am taking inspiration from my friend Lauren Mathena down in Danville, who has quickly iterated to put her yoga classes online. And she's been willing to experiment and try as she does it with a great sense of humility and grace. So I'll try to be like Lauren during this shoot. Hey, Patty, good to see you here. Jen Cox, yay. Brooke and Kristen are here, and Laura, it's great to see you all here. Crazy times, right? There's a lot going on. There's a lot to talk about. I'm just going to talk about a couple of things that have been kind of top of mind or things we've been hitting or talking about for our clients. So feel free as I go along, if you have questions, to jump in with your questions. I'd love to answer them and this to be as useful as possible for those who are attending. So let's see. Hey, Jen, good to see you. Alice, it's good to see you too here. I'm getting my notes set up in a way that works with my screen. So just one more second. Anyone have a blessing or a gift today that surprised them in a wonderful way that they're thankful for, that they want to share in the group chat? Y'all can do that while I finish setting up my notes. What's an unexpected blessing or gift that's already happened for you today? I'm going to say mine. It's sunny outside. That makes me really happy. So that's my blessing for the day. Anyone else have one they want to share? Oh, the warm weather. Yeah, Alice, we're on the same bandwidth on that one, aren't we? Anyone else have a blessing or a gift they want to share? Something they're thankful for? Okay, so today's talk. What I wanted to do was take couple minutes, just talk about baseline communication in a crisis situation, some things we've been making sure we do for clients, but then also talking about what we can do now that we're in it for what I'm going to call the long haul. I think it's hitting all of us. We've been in states of high anxiety and adrenaline rushes as we get notices put up and things on our website and emails and all these things. But now it's kind of, we're in for the duration, right? This thing's going to be around for at least a few weeks or months. And so how does that impact our communications? You know, how do we think about what we're doing differently? Oh, Patty says she's thankful for not being sick. Lindsay really likes being flexible so she can work back and forth with her kids being home and homeschooling and with work, which is wonderful. I have to say that's been an unexpected impact for our team. The letterpress team is amazing. We're mostly, or much of the team is working moms. And so we are used to working remotely. That hasn't been a huge impact for us. But the impact on childcare has been an unexpected thing that we're all being creative and working through. So crisis communication, how do we go beyond this being a crisis to actually like leaning into this is where we are for the duration? So I want to share some thoughts first just about basic communications, just some things we're doing for clients. I just want to remind everyone to do. If you have a website, really consider creating a COVID-19 specific landing page and having a ticker, a universal ticker or something on your site that pops out no matter where someone is on your website. So that they don't have to happen to come through your homepage to see what you're saying about COVID-19. Having something that's a universal ticker will allow, no matter where someone lands on your website, for them to see what you're saying about it. I know I said this is about ongoing communication, but frankly, having a COVID-19 specific topics page for your website is also helpful, because it means as you have more updates or more things that happen in the future, or let's say right now you're saying you're adjusting your store hours, or maybe your store is closed, or maybe you're doing curbside, but maybe later you won't, things like that. The page gives you a place to provide updates without disrupting the rest of your site. So it also is a way to kind of lean into this being a thing that's here for a while, right? Without having to constantly be putting new blog posts up, all those sorts of things. So that's one reason why you might want to do that. Jean, Audrey, I'm glad you're here. Brian, welcome. Brian, I'm gonna use your page as an example in a minute. Audrey said she's grateful for having plenty of food and wine. Yes, the wine. I went to Three Roads yesterday and bought 2 big crowlers of beer. They're no longer serving off the tap, but you guys should stop by there, pick up some canned beer. Came home and cracked it open. It's just as good as getting it off the tap. So yeah, supporting our small businesses. So one, just basics, talking about that website, that having a dedicated page, having a ticker. You can check out the Woodland Inc. I think maybe Jen Kinney can jump that link into our chat for us, for y'all to check that out. You notice with the ticker, we made sure it was on brand and we tried to avoid red, right? Something that will stand out and be obvious but doesn't speak panic might be something to think about. There's also little things like your Google, but think about, we've worked really hard to get things out really quickly, but now that we're in it for the long game, some things to think about for the duration is your Google business listing. With Google business, you can't do this with Facebook business yet, but with Google business, you can adjust your hours. So you can set up kind of like you would with a holiday or being open or closed. You can go in there and adjust your hours. Brian sent in a shout out for those shopping for kayaks online. Big thanks for that. Yes, true. This is also an opportunity, if you create one of those landing pages on your site, to accentuate the ways that people can shop with you while practicing social distance. So Sinclair, it's good to see you. One of the things we did with Greenfront is just making sure we mention Greenfront is open, staying open for now, although they have adjusted hours. It's pretty easy to maintain safe distances at Greenfront because it's so large. But they're accentuating the fact that for years and years and years, they've sold via the phone and online via email. So reminding people that they're available via phone or email to take orders is something you could do with your dedicated page if you do that. James from Danville, it's good to see you here. That makes me happy. Kim, it's good to see you too. So once again, we talked about that dedicated page. We talked about your Google listings. For your social, this seems obvious. Frankly, letterpress, we missed this for one client. Looking at anything you've drafted to go out, especially if you're on it, you've got things drafted for a month in advance, you want to go check those. We have one client, we have evergreen content that kind of is posted out for months and months and months, one thing a week, and then we have monthly content, and we've reviewed their monthly content to make sure there wasn't anything that was insensitive or wouldn't be appropriate during this time. But we forgot to review their evergreen content. So we had a post that went out yesterday that we need to take down. Wasn't a horrible post, wasn't anything terribly wrong with it, but it just didn't fit with the tenor of what's going on in the moment. So just remember, if you haven't, review anything you have scheduled to go out. We've had some clients ask about ads. For a lot of our clients, we are putting a hold, especially if they are no longer open or no longer can sell their product. We're putting a hold on some of their specific ads around Facebook that might be around a particular product or a particular thing. However, Jen Kinney commented and told me, she said, I will say we are running 2 ads for likes that are jamming. She thinks more people on social media seem to be a positive for like ads. So this is an opportunity right now with lots of people on social media, a lot of eyeballs on digital, right, to kind of increase engagement with your brand. Even if you can't promote a particular, let's say if you're a restaurant, you're doing curbside, you can't promote well, alcohol is always difficult anyway, but let's say this particular thing you can't offer, you can still work on those like campaigns and those sorts of things to increase your following. So the other thing I would say right now, with how things are going currently, we are continuing Google Ads for many of our clients. Lots of people are still online. They're still seeking, well, they're still online, but they're still Googling and looking for information. Google Ads is also a lot about exposure, and it's a long game. So for a lot of our clients, we're still keeping their Google Ads running at this time, right? That's up, and if things could happen, if things go longer, and we need to pause some of those because they need to adjust their spending, things like that. But for now, we're continuing with the Google Ads. That's just our approach. I'm sure there's other ways to think about or do it, and a lot of it depends on the type of business you have. So those are just some basic things, like basic crisis communication, things I hope you've already been thinking about or doing. Then there's other things, and if you've seen my Marketing 101 class, whoever in the group has been to one of my classes, can y'all send me some love? Let's see how many people have been to one of my classes. If you've been in one of those classes, you know, one of the things I stress is being authentic, especially in today's digital age. People find out really quick if you're not authentic and you're not yourself. So one of the examples I wanted to give was Appomattox River Company's COVID announcement is very authentic to who they are. I'm going to drop the link in just so you can see how they're doing that. Let's see here. Elsa's working the magic of the Facebook Live. Y'all can go check that out. But it's very authentic to who they are, and authentic to the fact that this is a situation that is coming and going. You know, we don't know where it's going to land. They're very honest about that. But also honest that people are buying kayaks right now. So they're encouraged, they don't want to take advantage of the situation, but they realize kayaking and canoeing is a great activity for social distancing, right? So the things they're doing, encouraging people to shop online, things like that, also acknowledging they're a small business. In our small Virginia community, I've been talking about that, especially with Farmville. Some of our larger companies, if they're to shut down or close for a period of time, that's going to have a huge impact on employment for our area. So them figuring out ways to stay open that are safe and healthy, right, and follows all the CDC guidelines and our stuff coming from the governor, that sort of stuff, but also figuring out a way to keep people employed is really important, safely but important. So especially for our rural communities, having a couple of our what I would call our big players not be open would have major impacts for us. So be authentic to who you are, share it in a way that speaks to who you are. Right now would be a really good time. So if you took my Marketing 101 class, I have you think about your 3 words, right? Instead of thinking about your vision, you think about what's 3 words you want people to think of when they think of your company. Now is a great moment to revisit those 3 words and think about any communication you have going out. Does it reflect those 3 words for you, even now, right? So going back to who you are is going to be really important. It's especially important, and this, I'm now transitioning into moving forward, because I think my experience has been at the last week that Facebook, all these places have become more cluttered than ever. There's so many people speaking at once. There's so many eyeballs on it because some people aren't working or they're at home or they're just anxious. They're going there for information. So one of my team members, Christina, who works out of Stanton, said this, thinking about what would be of value to your target audience, think about what would be of value to your target audience. Share resources, share content that's somehow COVID related but positive and that ties into your brand. Cutting through the clutter on social media right now is tough, so adjusting content strategy is important. But really thinking about how you can be authentically you, but still, if you've been in my class, how can you be useful to your customer? Remember, don't sell, be useful. So how can you be useful? And some of the basics still apply. If you're posting even your COVID announcement or something, use an image, even if it's just you, keeping it personal, right? A picture of the director or the executive director's face or the owner's face with this announcement that you're making is going to make it a lot more personal and relatable than if you just put plain text in a post, right? So that using an image in a connective way is really important. If you can, a video is a great way to do an announcement, or a great addition to, if you have an announcement page, actually having a Facebook Live or a video conversation, right, of you sharing this announcement personally, especially if you're a small business. That can be very powerful. You want to, everyone now has seen all the, not everyone, I don't want to minimize it, but we've all gotten lots of emails about going to the CDC or going to Virginia Department of Health, which is things we certainly should do. But for our businesses to really think about how they can authentically share who they are as they're sharing this, these details is important. Leanne, thank you for your kind words. Leanne said, great reminders from a great class. I love teaching those classes. They're a lot of fun. I get to meet a lot of small business owners. So keeping it authentic. Remember, you still got to use those images, even though things are different right now. We're kind of in this crisis mode. You still have to have that engaging content, because I think now more than ever, things are really cluttered. So something to think about. Yeah. So next is another thing from the class, or something I'll talk about in my Facebook deep dive, is having content pillars. So this is a trick that we use for many of our clients, where we come up with usually 3 or 4 content pillars, right? I'm trying to figure out how to get my hand in the camera because it's sideways, so it's kind of, you know, 3 to 4 content pillars for our clients. And right now is probably a time to adjust your content pillars, right? It's time for content to change. And so what I want to urge you to think about is it's time to get beyond just the next alert around how COVID is impacting your business, to actually think about what type of content that's COVID related could be helpful to your customers. So letterpress, we did really quick. My team has been amazing. They have worked so hard over the last week, and I'm so thankful for them. I was actually traveling last week, and I was like on flights on the road back from Texas, all this stuff, and we were on calls talking about what letterpress could do via its content strategy. So we've decided the 2 things we want to lean into are remote work. So a lot of our clients are going to working remotely, and so something we can offer them that doesn't have directly to do with marketing, but is useful, is talking more about things or tricks or knacks we've learned about working remotely that we can share with them. Now, you'll notice lots of people are already talking about remote work. If you're like us, you've probably been invited to a bunch of different webinars already, or things like that. So the important thing to do, and I'm looking over here because I'm going to share a link, and I'm going to put it in the chat for y'all to see. The important thing to do is to really think about how you can share it authentically. So the link I just shared is a post that we did yesterday that features Alice, one of our team members, and talks about gear, finding the right gear. And then, of course, one of the other things we already know about social media is you want to keep it engaging. So that particular post talks about, it says, what is your favorite accessory to have that's most useful to you? And then bonus points if your earbuds match your hair, which Alice happened to do, because Alice is always hip with the times. So the thing is, those rules that we know about social media are still applying, right? We're engaging, we're asking questions, but we're finding a way to be useful that's authentic to who we are and hopefully relevant to our clients. So that way of being useful, but in terms of not just like tips of a remote work that they could get from anywhere else. That image is something that only letterpress could share, and we're talking about it in a way that only we would talk about it. So really keeping that authenticity going. The other thing to think about is, and this is interesting for some of my clients, and you'll notice this, we're all kind of already getting tired of the news, if that makes sense. There's a little bit of exhaustion going on. So thinking about upping some of your positive content, or some of your joyful, or that's why I wanted to start with gratitude today, content. We all need some mental health help probably, right? We need some reminders to smile. We need to take things seriously, and we need to do things that are safe and healthy, right? But it's going to be exhausting to do that all the time. So the thing to think about is, how can you maybe add some of that joy back into your feed. So I'll share this for Greenfront. We've been working on a campaign concept for a while. That's oh man, Alice, I forget the name. I think it's Dogs of Greenfront. Yeah. Y'all, if y'all have been to my class, you know I say sex sells, but we can't sell with sex. But puppies and babies work great. So dog posts, posts of children, all of those always work really well to engage and be authentic in a wonderful way. So anytime, if we could just post pictures of dogs at Greenfront, it would blow up their feed all the time. Of course, we can't do that all the time. But we had started working on this campaign, and our concept had been to do this about every other week. We had collected lots of pictures of clients or customers with their dogs on site, and we were going to do that once a week. But actually, this was Jen Crawley's idea because of everything going on. Oh, Alice, thank you for, yes, Dogs of Greenfront. Because of everything going on, he's like, let's post this twice a week. Like this type of content that's true to who we are and what we do, but like brings a smile to the face or brings some joy to our customers. Let's lean into that. So once again, not being disrespectful of what's going on, but thinking about how you can bring back some of the joy, some of the gratitude. That's something to think about. Something we're really encouraging our clients to do. And that's something that's going to be important, once again, if you're going into communications for the long haul. So also, the other idea I had is, because I think I've just seen multiple clients doing this in the last week, is now is a good time to start that new thing. For example, letterpress, I would say for about 3 years, I have written as a goal that I want to start a vlog, that I want to do this like video blog where I would talk to different clients. I've had different concepts. We even had like some Longwood interns for a while that were helping. We tested out some concepts of what it would be. Had we ever done it? No. You know, the cobbler's children have no shoes. So my best marketing ideas end up going off to my clients because hashtag billable hours. But now is the time, now is the moment when we decided this is my first one. In this moment of kind of crisis and things changing, now's the time to really think about that thing you've been wanting to do. We have a client that for about 4 years, we have, well, maybe 3 years, we've been said, you know, a Facebook page would be, you know, your business services, so we know it's a challenge, but a Facebook page really might be something you want to consider, and they've been putting it off. And this is the week, you know, as they go to working remotely from their office, that they're ready to launch their Facebook page, right? They are leaning more into their Google Ads, and we're working more to optimize some of their landing pages for their Google Ads. So just thinking about what's some of the new things, especially digital and technology, you've been wanting to do. I mentioned my friend Lauren Mathena in Danville with Firefly Yoga. She told me, we were talking about this last week, that she's been looking at or exploring applications or things to add to her company to bring yoga online for a while. That hasn't been something she hasn't been thinking about. But she was able to launch the first one in less than 48 hours in this kind of moment. So this is a moment, I would say, to make things happen in a way is truly disruptive. And when disruption happens, innovation happens really quickly. Let me see if I can find something. Yes, so where I was last week was in Texas for the Startup Champion Network conference. And I found this at one of the co-working spaces we visited. It's going to be backwards for you guys. But I would say this is the moment, right? This right now with this disruption is time to be innovative, right? So that new thing you've been thinking about doing, now might just be the moment to do that. So me with the vlog, I mentioned my client launching a Facebook page. So Jen Kinney, the Chamber, has started a COVID-specific resource page around Facebook. On Facebook, it's a Facebook group. Facebook groups are amazing, right? So really think about engaging that as a resource. If you've been thinking about having a group for a long time, now is the moment to engage your community. So the Chamber has stepped up and created this group that in the past they didn't have, just out of this moment that probably would have taken otherwise, like, you know, probably months of board discussion and approval and things like that. Now is the moment They can go, Jen Kinney is mentioning the Farmville Cares website. So we launched in less than 48 hours a nonprofit resource page for our community. Jen, can you pop that link in here too for us? It's not the best website in the world, but it works really well, right? And we can update it twice a day as things change for our nonprofit organizations. So that's something that, once again, a website generally takes us about, this is the way we do websites, usually takes 3 months between planning, research of what has worked in the past websites for that client, content, design, review processes, and we were able to launch a website in 48 hours, right? With the involvement and input of 25 organizations. And there's no way that could have happened. As a matter of fact, a couple of people from the group have said that this has been, having a website like this, has been a conversation they've had for 3 or 4 or 5 years, right? And there's been iterations or things to do they've tried out, but it's never been able to actually get totally off the ground. And so this is, once again, this is the opportunity to do the thing. Brian says, seeing opportunity is not a skill, it is a choice. I think that is very true. It is a kind of a moment to say, even if you just need to sit down with a piece of paper for 5 minutes and say, what are let me list 5 opportunities I see. If you get past 3, all of a sudden I feel like your brain unlocks, you know, it starts whirring in a different way, and you can really start thinking in creative and new ways. So let's see here. We talked about doing that new thing. This is also a time, I'm talking a lot about digital, but personal connection is really important right now. So this is something actually Jen Kinney noted that the Chamber is doing, is they are calling 10 clients a day right now internally to check on them. What can they do? How are you doing? Is there any way we can support you? Digital is important. It's crowded. It's also can be impersonal. So really think about, I actually have a huge stack of note cards I bought. And so one of my goals, hopefully I'll be able to do it, is to start sending out more cards to people on my team to show my gratitude to my clients. Here's one with, oh man, I forget his name. Someone give me his name. The artist with the happy birds and the happy clouds. Anyway, I got these from an artist in Richmond. Or this one, Mr. Rogers. Anyway, fun cards. Going a little non-tech right now isn't a bad idea either. How can you connect via the phone, via a card, via something very tangible and personal right now is really something to think about as well. So those were some quick thoughts. I really want to thank my letterpress team. They sent me, oh, Bob Ross. Thank you guys. Yes, Bob Ross, the artist. I want to thank my, instead of mom brain, we should have COVID brain. I feel like I have COVID brain from the last 2 weeks of craziness. Happy trees. Thank you, Audrey. Of course you would know that. Man, I lost my train of thought. Oh, I want to thank my team. They actually helped me put together some of the notes, some of the things we're doing. We pulled this together. Once again, we pulled this together in 24 hours ourselves. That's 1 minute, reason I was a couple minutes late. I was trying to figure out if I could screen share with you guys as I do it. Next time, I will have time to practice, and we might try screen sharing. I'm not sure if I can flip back and forth from screen sharing to being face-to-face, so we'll find out. I'm gonna have to innovate a little bit and learn. The final note I want to leave you with, and this is communications related, but it's also kind of personal, is, and this goes to kind of my joking comment about COVID brain, is I do think, and there's been points in my life where I've had chronic pain, especially with my lower back. There's something about this moment where it's kind of like being in chronic pain, and that we all have an underlying level of chronic anxiety right now, of uncertainty, of the unknown, that is kind of just there, right? And we have a certain amount of capacity in a cup, right? And then things come in, annoyances, you know, questions, concerns, people are having demands in our time to come. And I think because of what's going on, all of our cups are a little bit smaller because we're having to give more of ourselves to this kind of what's going on, right? The anxiety, all of that, it's taking up more of our resources. So I would just encourage us all to really pay attention to our tone and how we are saying things. I have noticed I have gotten more snippy the last probably 48 hours. And so internal communications with your team, really being aware of, we're all kind of living on an edge right now, and it's going to be like this for a bit. So how do we bring more awareness to the tone that we're bringing to the conversation? This goes to our social media posts, even the emails we're sending out. Can we add a little bit of that joy or ease? Can we bring grace into the conversations we're having with peers and friends and partners and family, and grace for them as they get snippy, and grace for ourselves? And as we get snippy, to know that there's a lot and there's reasons why we're getting easily frustrated or snippy. But especially for those, that's a personal thing, but it's also a corporate or a business thing, because when we think about how we're sending out our communications, we're thinking about the emails that we're getting from clients, the frustrated customers. Even sometimes I've noticed some people offering help, I've taken it the wrong way the last couple of days, right? Because I'm on edge, right? So just really, I'm gonna work on that. I'm also gonna kind of work on all those other pieces of getting the rest I need and whatnot. But being aware of that, that's a big piece of communication, being aware of that tone, right? And how we're taking things, and that we all have this extra level that we maybe need to adjust our communications to take that even into account for our customers and our clients. So that might be also a reason to lean into a little bit extra of that joy. So guys, it has been amazing talking to you today. I love that we've had so many viewers. That makes me really happy. Does anyone have like a specific question? I could probably take 2 or 3 questions specifically about kind of ongoing communications. I say this in my class. I have a letterpress as 5 employees and 15 contractors. So if I don't know the answer to the question, I might need to engage one of them, and then we'll put the comment in here as an answer. But if anyone has a question or 2 they want to ask, I'll hang out for a minute to answer them. And so, yeah, I'm trying to think. Oh, I can show y'all some more of my cool cards while we wait for questions. I showed you the Mr. Rogers, right? Oh, it's kind of shiny with the light. And then we have, this would be for a significant other, not for a client, but you know, it's kind of funny if you like that kind of humor. So, oh, it looks like, do we have a question? Oh, Sinclair saying thank you. Carla's saying thank you for going live. Here's another one. Oh, this is probably a really good card for this moment in time. It's the dude. The dude abides. I don't know about you, but I take comfort in that, knowing he's out there, the dude, taking her easy for all us sinners. So yeah, maybe that's what we need to end with. We just need to remember the dude abides, right? And may we all abide a little too. Have a great day. It was good talking to y'all. Happy Friday.